Amira, I had to make sure that everybody was listening in. Actually, I just got off of a meeting. And we have our ForexAnalytix meeting, and I was just wrapping up a few comments before I got here. So, how you guys doing? Glad you're here. Yeah, so I was running like about a minute behind. So I was just going to point out the cable. We have a little AB equals CD that takes us right into the 50% retracement. We've seen a bit of a recovery in the pound. You know, I want to point out a couple of things, and let me get rid of this. Get rid of these blue lines because they kind of disrupt some of thought processes here. So last week we had a pretty big rejection above 165 or 135, excuse me, in the cable. Big sell-off, took stops above the market, took stops below the market, obviously overnight. But I think the risk, while we're below 135, is still lower. Now, I know there's a lot of room between here and 135, but I just wanted to mention that I think that the risk is still lower. And we were having this discussion in the chat room regarding Brexit and the risks associated with Brexit. And remember, the drop dead date is going to be December 31st. So the question is, you know, is the EU and the UK going to get get everything done before like these EU meetings, like, here in the next couple of days, to make sure that they wrap up a deal before the 31st. And Amanda was just saying that, it's easier for the UK to maneuver than it is for the EU and, 27 different countries. The fact of the matter is that we don't have a deal yet with the UK. And it's probably going to go up to the wire if it is. And, I think that the rejection above 135 technically tells us that there is a risk now, downside risk in the cable. I'm not trading the pound right now. I tried to trade it last night, and I got stopped out for break even. I bought it at 133.92, and then I put my stop at break even in Asia last night, and then obviously got stopped out. I bought it pre-market, and then I got stopped out break even. And I would probably be willing to sell the cable on a move towards 135. I don't know if I'd be willing to sell it here, or maybe a move up to the 50% or the 618, maybe 34.20, and use that as an area to be on the short side, because you can say, well, if it makes it to 134 and change, you could be short, and then your stop is above the highs because you're wrong above there. And if you're risking 120 pips, what's your gain? I mean, and you got to think about this longer term, because if you sell it at 134.20, let's say you risk 130 pips, what are you looking to gain? Well, I mean, personally, I'd be looking at this as a no deal. So you're looking to gain probably well below 130. So you're risking 130 pips to make maybe 400. That's not a bad risk reward. You just have to be able to sit through the potential of risking that much. And when you do that, then it all comes down to the sizing of your position, right? Like if there's a big difference between, and I'm just going to use numbers, for example purposes. There's a difference between, you sell some at 64.20, you sell 100,000 cable worth, right? 100, just 100K, and then you get stopped out and you lose $1,300 or $1,400, something like that, to make $4,000 if you get limited out. Or if you're trading 50K worth, you're risking 2,000, or you're risking 800 to make 2,000, or vice, or obviously bigger amounts, if you trade larger, or smaller if you're trading micro lots. But I'm just giving you a risk reward from here, in my opinion, based on deal or no deal. you'd be risking, whoops, like 1, to make 4 from, a trade that looks something like that. It's good risk reward. You just have to be able to sit through the, the gist of it. That's the, it's the trick when you're trading a wide ranges. You have to trade much smaller positions than you're normally used to. Okay. Let's talk about the Aussie. So the Aussie, this has been pretty big. This has been a pretty big rally right into resistance. Now, I'm hoping this resistance holds because I'm short the Aussie, and I actually added to the Aussie at like 42.15 on my already short position. So I'm sitting here underwater going, man, this is a hell of a rally. I still know where my risk is, and it's not far from where we're at right now. But the thing is I actually got pinged from other people outside of ForexAnalytix asking me what's up with the Aussie. So, and I actually told you guys that in this analysis right here, in basic technical analysis, it says the Aussie dollar has surprisingly rallied back to the key 74.50 level. I've had a few people outside ForexAnalytix ask why. So this move was a surprise to many intraday. I mean, it really was. When I have people that are pinging me from different organizations going, hey, do you know what's up with the Aussie? And I'm like, no, I don't, my answer to that is, the Aussie is going to benefit from a reflation trade. So as long as stocks continue, we got NASDAQ hitting new highs, you got to assume that the Aussie is going to continue to climb. That's probably it. But I think this move was really caught a lot of people. And so I guess the point I'm trying to make is we are, up against that big 127% extension. I'm hoping it holds, but right now it looks really, really bullish. The euro's pulling back. When I sent the analysis this morning via ForexAnalytix, it was down here as we were building this bull flag. Then we hit, we rallied outside the bull flag. And then I was telling traders, then I sent out another analysis that we might pull back to like 121 and change. What I think is happening here is we're developing some sort of triangle pattern, like some consolidation, I think. But, that's just an assumption right now. Hopefully you guys weren't stuck long up here because, again, my analysis with the euro, and this is 3 hours ago, the euro broke out of the pennant, but I expected that we'd come down a little bit. And that was when we were at 21.50. And, we've pulled back a little bit, to 21.32. Do I think we still could come down? Sure. I think it's, more of a consolidation, and I'm just drawing it on the ForexAnalytix, the charts that are in ForexAnalytix now. So I think that's entirely possible. Okay. So just, keep an eye on the euro. I think we're consolidating here, but I think the big move is, the move that we saw in like the Aussie. Now, I want to also talk a little bit about the dollar Canadian, because the dollar Canadian really has held up well. So in the event that the Aussie turns lower, there's the risk that the dollar Canadian actually can turn higher here because it didn't hit new lows or didn't hit support, where the Aussie hit 74.50 or is at 74.50 right now. The loonie is well off of its support now. So, we could build some, build some momentum for a bounce. And remember, this is a big 161% extension of this move here. And matter of fact, let's see, we're probably close to it. No, we're not at 261% extension there, but of this last bounce, we are at 161% extension there. So, we might be able to hold here. It's possible. Dollar Mexican peso is also trying to hold up in this this wedge that we're building. And another currency that's bounced back quite aggressively is the Kiwi, but we're about at the underside of the trend line here of the breakdown of the ascending wedge. So we should stall here's the 618. We should stall around here and, possibly turn lower. So that's an idea of something that might happen going into Asia. But I'll tell you, the dollar weakness that we saw today, especially against some of these commodity currencies like the Aussie and the Kiwi, that has really caught me off guard. I did not expect that today. Amira asked for platinum. Let's take a look at platinum. I haven't looked at platinum in a long time. So now, one of the other things that we're talking about platinum is the breakout in gold, I think, had a lot to do with the dollar weakness that we saw, especially against the Aussie and the Kiwi. So here's platinum. Is that a false breakout? I think it's possible. Let me do this. Here's the thing that concerns me the most about platinum. Bit of divergence as we rallied to new highs in price. We did not rally to new highs in relative strength, so that is divergent. I think if I was long, I'd be concerned. Is it time to be short? Probably not yet. Maybe right here. Why didn't that hold? And you can see the low today, how important that is. So that low at basically 1001. If we break back below that, that would probably be bearish, because it already showed you that's how important that support is. So break below these lows would probably expose a move lower, but I don't know if I'd expect that with gold and silver as strong as they are right now. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys and gals. But that, that's kind of a quick update on what's happening. Stocks continue to stay strong, and it's hard to be really bullish the dollar while the stock market is so strong. The dollar is a risk-off currency, and we're not seeing any risk-off right now. So, when you're talking about the dollar pairs remain, dollar remains weak against most major currencies, and the reason why is because stocks continue to scream higher, and that's a fact. So, if we start to see a little bit of profit taking in stocks, that might give the dollar a little bit of a boost. But as of right now, that's just not the case. All right, guys and gals, I want to thank you very much for tuning in today. And I want to thank you all for your support of ForexAnalytix. I appreciate it, as the rest of the team does as well. Sorry I was a minute late. I just had to wrap up the other meeting with the team, which was it was a quick meeting, but we had to, I didn't want to cut anybody off as they were speaking. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the chat room. If not in the chat room, I'll see you on the Face webinar tomorrow morning. All right. Thanks, guys.